Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Johnny Hill producing as always. We're Sports Time. We're with you usually for 3 hours, only 2.5 hours today as we're out early tonight. Ole Miss Rebels baseball, they're starting their weekend series a day early in Fayetteville against Arkansas. So that will kick off tonight, 6 p.m. First pitch, 5:30 pregame for the Ole Miss Rebels. But plenty to talk about. Speaking of Arkansas, all indications, all reports that Eric Musselman will be announced as the next coach of USC, likely tomorrow. I saw a report from a USC blog that said him and his wife were flying out there tonight for the official introduction press conference and everything tomorrow. So we'll probably get the official word today, press conference tomorrow. So plenty to talk about today. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing great. Opening day for the Cardinals in red-clad, frigid St. Louis. Woo, man, people are bundled up. And the ownership group out at home plate, they got big old gloves on like they're going ice fishing. And it's a great scene. Boy, when Ozzie Smith was introduced and Tony La Russa. And, they were, for a long time, they were very much at loggerheads. But for them to be introduced back-to-back, that was the best moment. That was the best part of my day today, and I've had a really good day.
Heck yeah. When you mentioned it being cold in St. Louis. It looks like it's been cold a lot of places. I mean, you had yesterday in Chicago looked really cold.
Today in New York.
New York looked really cold this morning. So, I mean,
doubleheader back-to-back. Didn't empty the stadium out. Just basically just playing 18 over about 5-hour span. And Brian, it was a big challenge for me today. When I woke up this morning and saw that doubleheader and no clearing out the stadium, and I thought, oh no, it's going to happen. I'm going to lose my proclamation, my resolution a weekend. If they had played 2 7-inning games in a doubleheader.
Yes, that I would not have been a fan of that at all. But luckily,
I would have lost my mind, Brian.
I know you would have. That would have been.
And a mind's a terrible thing to lose.
It sure is. But thankfully, we didn't have to worry about that. 2 9-inning games, playing it like it's supposed to be played. So that was good to see. And
look at that, they played 2 9-inning games and. It was no mayhem. Everybody lived to talk about it.
That's right.
Imagine that.
How about that? They beat the frigid cold.
We don't need any passive aggression, do we?
No, nothing. You do too much passive aggressive, I might start counting that as you.
That's
failing.
5 passive aggressions equals 1 breaking proclamation?
Something like that. We'll have to work out the
we got to get a Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the details of it. But it's something like that for sure.
Yeah.
So, but
for sure, and a lot going on. You mentioned Eric Musselman. There's no doubt his fait accompli from really the Hunter Yurachek interview when he said, I don't know what he's going to do. That's when he knew he was gone. And better for all parties. I will say this for Eric Musselman. I know Razorback fans are irate. We always are when we feel jilted or scorned by the coach, whether it was Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley, and I could go on and on with all the different cases. Even Nick Saban from LSU to the pros, and then to Alabama, and just million cases. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I come back to this though, and I think if you would simply ask this, it will make you feel better. Did Eric Musselman leave it better than he found it? It's categorical, yes. Because, and I was stunned that it didn't work with Mike Anderson. Stunned. It just seemed almost too good to be true that loyal, top lieutenant to Coach Nolan Richardson, part of building 40 Minutes of Hell and national championship, and had gone out and won at UAB in Mizzou.
Yeah.
That's pretty good stair step on the way to taking the Arkansas job, and it just undeniably didn't work, and had to be fired. So he's leaving it better than he found it, and I would say that to Ole Miss fans that if indeed it is Chris Beard, as a lot of indications are, is he leaving Ole Miss better than he found it? It was just 1 year, but it's yes.
Yeah.
He came in and mostly with the same team went from 12 wins to 20 wins.
Yeah.
beat NC tournament team in Florida, beat NC tournament team in Mississippi State, both those at home. Mm-hmm. They didn't play a second game to Florida, lost at Starkville. Beat NC State, that's in the Final Four this weekend. So I would say that he did he left it better than he found it, and the fundamentals of the job are better than they've ever been. Mm-hmm. Great facility, great practice facility, great budget, great recruiting budget, food, travel, everything is top shelf. So somebody, and I know the answer for everybody out there is Will Wade, and it could be Will Wade, and I would be for that. And I see, I have no inhibition for Ole Miss or anywhere else hiring him. Mm-hmm. I mean, coached at McNeese State last year. If it's good enough for McNeese State, I mean, why wouldn't it be for somewhere else?
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you, and I think we talked about it a lot during the season of just kind of that student engagement that he got there. I mean, the excitement for Chris Beard was off the charts, and for that team was off the charts this year. And you saw, I mean, plenty of times throughout the SEC conference schedule of, a packed arena pretty much every night, packed student section. And that's what you want to see. And so I think you have that kind of stepping stone, that building stone, if he does leave and take the Arkansas job, that whoever Ole Miss goes out and hires, I think they have plenty of resources. They have that kind of those building blocks already kind of there to continue to build off of them. But it feels like those dominoes were going to fall, and now that first domino seems like it is falling right now. And Eric Musselman will go out to USC, and he's more comfortable out on the West Coast, and that's where he spent a ton of time. And now
he really wanted UCLA.
Sure did. And so now we'll see what other dominoes fall around the SEC and college basketball, because whether for Arkansas, whether it's Chris Beard or somebody else, they're going to go after a big time coach, and then whoever, if they do take Chris Beard, Ole Miss is going to want to go out and make a splashy hire. So I think a lot of dominoes about to fall.
And I think the attributes of the Arkansas job really speak for themselves. Mm-hmm. World-class facility that they're getting ready to totally make over. It doesn't need a total makeover. It just needs some, after 30 years, sprucing up.
Sure.
It's going to get it. They're not building the standalone new place because there's a limitation of land that you would still call it on campus. Sure. for that size of building, and also the price tag. What Texas built there in Austin for $450 or so is now at $600. $600 for a college basketball arena that you would use, 50 nights a year, men, women, graduation, and the Walmart stockholders meeting.
That's right. Yeah. So,
Let's go crazy and say 75.
Sure, why not?
With concerts and stuff.
Up, yeah.
I mean, that's just that's just unheard of, and so they're going to have to dedicate it to that, and all the things I mentioned about Ole Miss, travel, diet, they got it all.
Sure.
All the bells, all the whistles, everything to make you a winner, and just a year removed from a Sweet 16, and before that, 2 seasons before that, the back-to-back Elite Eight. So it is a glamorous job. That will leave in the SEC. At the top in seniority, John Calipari is 1, Bruce Pearl 2, Rick Barnes 3, Buzz Williams 4, Nate Oates 5, now Michael White at Georgia 6, Todd Golden, Chris Jans, Dennis Gates, Matt McMahon, Lamont Parrish, Chris Beard for now at Ole Miss, and Mark Byington at Vanderbilt. So wait for the Arkansas hire, and if it's some dominoes and it includes Ole Miss, have those two, and then we'll have 15 and 16. Texas and OU. Sorry, guys, line forms are thin.
Yep, you. Even though you've been there, you're just now joining the SEC.
That's
so start at the back. No, it's interesting though, and we'll see how fast this moves for Arkansas, and then whatever job opens up after that.
Brian, it is. I think it's really important in anything, any walk of life, to believe in something. To know what you believe and to believe in something. And if you don't, you'll fall for about anything. And from the very first allegation, that first, I think it was a Monday even, of the whatever domestic incident occurred with Chris Beard and his girlfriend at Austin that led to his ouster, and the worldwide pictures of the in the jumpsuit and the allegations that were all totally recanted by her, and him formally cleared by what we call and what we're so proud of in this country that separates us from so many, our justice system.
That's right.
From that first day, from my friendship of knowing him, never dreaming he would be head coach at Ole Miss someday. Never dreaming that only after a year at Ole Miss he might be leaving Ole Miss. Might be leaving Ole Miss. I defended him. I said, the person I know, this sounds out of character. I'm shocked by it. Mm-hmm. So we went through that kind of December, January, and he's cleared.
Yep.
He's cleared about a month later. Mm-hmm. Totally. And look, all people can say bought off. You have zero evidence of that. Right. You have zero evidence of that. I have a bunch of evidence that he was cleared. Mm-hmm. I have a statement, a sworn statement by her that she recanted. Mm. Now, for it to rise to that level, you can say it shouldn't have got to that. It got a little wild and it got a little crazy. Okay, you can. I haven't been involved in anything like that, and don't want anybody else in it. Right. But I defended him then. I defended him when he was hired at Ole Miss. And I would defend him if he leaves Ole Miss for Arkansas or for anywhere else, that did not happen in Austin. Can everybody else in the Arkansas, Ole Miss, Texas college basketball world say that?
No.
There's a lot of Arkansas Twitter that's having to be deleted today, isn't it?
Sure, absolutely. 100%.
They love that jumpsuit picture this time last year.
Well, and it's funny because you bring that up. There's a lot of tweets, social media posts that are having to be deleted, and already people kind of doing a complete about face and saying, "Oh, well, just get ready because you're gonna hear a lot of that if Arkansas does hire him. It's gonna be a lot of opposing fan bases that are gonna be yelling that and posting those pictures." But they were just the ones that were doing that a year ago now.
And certainly not our friends like Ty Richardson in Northwest Arkansas and his partner Tommy Kraft, neither one of them, nor some of our friends at the Buzz. I can name a couple. Sure. But there are a couple of really loud voices in Northwest Arkansas, and one that's trying to be a little version of the kicker on YouTube.
Interesting.
That had a lot of comment about Chris Beard a year ago. I hope Chris sees all that.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't.
And I hope people realize Brett didn't have to change his story regardless of where he was.
No, not at all. I was not aware that there was a Pat McAfee wannabe in Arkansas.
Get in line. There are millions.
News to me. Wow, how about that? So it's gonna be interesting. But again, I expect Arkansas to move fast once this is official. I expect them not to take much time in figuring out who their man is because, we talked about it. These coaches, these programs have to continue to go, and the transfer portal's not slowing down, recruitment's not slowing down. So they got to go find their man and let them get to work.
And a potentially awkward position with Ole Miss there for baseball that we're going to carry tonight in the 3-game series and that. And I do know that Chris Beard for a year now has felt a lot of loyalty and kinship with Ole Miss for hiring him when he was still radioactive.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens, but certainly going to be the story. Obviously, the Final Four is going to dominate the weekend, but that story is not going to be far behind.
Are you ready for the P.J. Haggerty era?
Yeah, why not?
I am too.
That was a big pickup this morning for
it was
Penny
great.
Hardaway. Yeah, and AAC Freshman of the Year. You don't got to worry about preseason Freshman of the Years anymore.
Yeah,
this
is
right. Named Freshman of the Year.
Now he was at TCU but didn't play, right?
Yes, that's right.
Red shirt or injured or what?
Maybe. Hold on, I would have to. I don't remember all the specifics.
I don't either. But great player. And just smoked Javon Quinterly in that one matchup last year.
Yeah, no, he was awesome in that game. And yeah, you're right. Redshirted and then transferred over to Tulsa. But yeah, you're right. That one game, he was the story. Everyone who kind of already knew who he was saying, "Hey, get ready, look out for him. He's gonna have a big game." And then those who did not know about him quickly learned who he was during that game and almost single-handedly won that
Sure
game for
did.
Tulsa. And I
He
think that
sure
was the
did.
moment. Penny Hardaway, I remember that game. I think both him and David Jones walking through the handshake line kind of, had a couple extra seconds where they paused
See when I see you.
and talked to PJ. So that was great to see. That one was kind of, we were talking earlier this week, the reports that had come out that Illinois big man Dane Danger was on campus for a visit. PJ Haggerty one was quiet. There was no real reporting that he was on campus for a visit, kind of out of nowhere this morning, that he was committing. Then we learned that he was on campus earlier this week for a visit. So, yeah, that's a huge start to the offseason. We know a lot more work to be done for Penny Hardaway, but a great start for him.
All right, at that all-important point guard position, already for next year, do you think the Tigers are better than what they had last year at point guard? I do. Now, he's more of a shoot first than set up assist man first.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. And he's more drive to the basket. He doesn't give you as much of the three-point shooting that you kind of thought you had with Quinterly. I think it's an upgrade. I mean, you look around, and I think On3 had him as their number 2 overall transfer portal player. David Cobb, he was telling us earlier this week he was putting out his top 50 transfer portal guys. He had him at number 16, I believe, or maybe 17. And then 247 had him at either 16 or 17. So, I mean, this is a highly regarded transfer, not just in the American, but all over college basketball. And I think he even said, Joe Tipton reported after he committed that he picked Memphis over Texas, Providence, and Kansas State. So, had some big time offers out there, and picked the Tigers instead. So I think a huge pickup for them.
Great start.
Yeah, definitely a great start. And we'll see what Penny Hardaway does after that, because a lot of work to be done. I mean, you look at that roster of guys they have returning, and some guys we don't know one way or the other if they're going to return. A lot of work for Penny Hardaway this offseason. Well, let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Steve Macy, the Senior Director for Team Business and Event Operations for the Memphis Showboats. He'll join us to talk Showboats. 1-0 start for the Boats as they'll make their home debut in the UFL this weekend at
Look out, Miami Dolphins going undefeated.
Right, how about that? You got to start 1-0 to go undefeated. So good start for them. We'll talk a lot of Showboats with Steve Macy in our next segment. 3:45, we'll talk Grizzlies. They completed the sweep last night against the Bucks, and how bad this season's been, how unfortunate it's been. That was definitely a highlight to beat the Bucks here and then turn around and go up there and beat them in Milwaukee. And now a lot of questions for the Bucks after back-to-back losses to the Wizards and the Grizzlies. So we'll talk Grizzlies at the end of this hour. 4 o'clock, we'll stick with the same topic of the NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He'll join us a lot to get to in the NBA as we're really getting down to the home stretch of this regular season. Teams jockeying for playoff position, so a ton to get to with Keith. 4:30, Chris Stewart, the voice of the Crimson Tide. He'll join us. It's a big weekend for the University of Alabama as they're in the Final Four. Tough test against UConn, but we'll talk about this season, this run, and this Final Four game with Chris Stewart at 4:30. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston. He'll join us to talk Tigers, and plenty to talk about with Tigers. The news this morning about PJ Haggerty, the extension for Ryan Silverfield on the football side, so plenty to get to with Greg. We'll talk to him for about 17, 18 minutes, then we'll let him go. We'll get to an early Taco Bell crunch time around that time and get out of here about 5:25 to make way for Ole Miss and Arkansas pregame starting at 5:30. First pitch set for 6 o'clock. Let me remind you, we're sitting in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. And get over to Family Leisure for factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and patio furniture. It's patio season. Come by Family Leisure and check out the new 2024 patio furniture sets. Pool season will be here before we know it. Buy now and get in line for your pool installation and get preseason pricing. Save $1,000 to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Also, special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and outdoor kitchens. Only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Produced by Johnny Hill, this is Sportstime, and we're with you until 5:30 today. We want you to be a part of our show at 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text, talk, and all our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin line at 901-360-8255 this hour. Every day brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the big news for Penny Hardaway this morning. P.J. Haggerty committed to the Tigers earlier today on his Instagram page. He was named the AAC Freshman of the Year. Like Brett mentioned, he started his career at TCU, but redshirted and then transferred to Tulsa, to where he really got his start. And a massive season for him last year. Was really kind of a one-man band for Tulsa and led them to winning a lot of games. I think a lot of people remember the Tigers game where he had a really, really good game and almost willed them to a victory over Penny Hardaway's team. But another game that sticks out to me, I think he had like 29 or 30 points in the season finale against USF to stop
down the stretch. He was a machine.
He was, and that cut their that ended their long win streak for USF and was a big win for Tulsa going into the tournament. He averaged 21.2 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists per game while shooting nearly 50% from the three. Now, this isn't a guy that's going to come in and be a knockdown three-point shooter. He's not the best three-point shooter. He's a guy that gets to the basket, drives to the paint, and gets his money around the basket, which I think could pair him very nicely with David Jones if you can get him back on this team. If you've got a dominant point guard that can, dish it out, but also, get to the basket, grab rebounds, kind of do a little bit of everything, and then you've got that pure scorer in David Jones, I think that is really, really big. I mentioned both these things earlier, but Haggerty told Joe Tipton of On3 that he picked Memphis over Texas, Kansas State, and Providence. So, this isn't a guy that was just looking for somewhere to go and said, oh, Memphis is the best offer I have. This was a guy that had some pretty big-time offers and was rated highly. David Cobb, who we talked to every single Monday, had him number 17 overall in his top 50 transfer portal. So a huge get for Memphis and a massive start for Penny Hardaway. We were kind of wondering early in the year, when could we get that first news? When could we get that first commitment? Well, today's the day, and I think it is a great start for the offseason.
One single-digit game all of last year for me. He only had 8 in an overtime loss against ULR. And ULR ended up being pretty good and almost won the automatic bid in the Ohio Valley Conference. Everything else was double digits, and down the stretch, he was money. My top story, plane issues won't slow down UConn. It took them forever to get from Stores to Phoenix. Nothing's going to slow them down. Long day of travel to finally touch down in the desert. Second time for Phoenix to host the Final Four. Nothing stopping UConn. Not Plains, Bama, Zach Edey, Cinderella, NC State. We're witnessing greatness. It's been 17 years for a back-to-back, only 2 back-to-back in over 30 years. This won't happen again soon in portal and NIL years. This is a real anomaly that it's happening now in portal and NIL years. Sit back and enjoy it, college basketball fans.
Not top story of the day.
Well, we've talked about super leagues in the past. I remember a couple years ago, soccer was the big. They're going to have this massive super league where all the top clubs are going to go and play, and that was quickly, shut down. But now, looks like the Super League might be coming to college football. As proposed yesterday an 80-team format that would use all of the Power 5 schools plus Notre Dame plus SMU that's on their way to the ACC. Those would make up the 70 teams with 7 different divisions, and then the last 10 would come from the group of 5 ranks. And I know this has been something that's been very popular over the last couple years in terms of talking about what could college sports look like in the next 10 to 15 years, but a relegation system for the group of 5 teams where you take the top 10 and they are now in this top bracket, but if they don't perform, they would go right back down to the rest and you would bring new teams up. So it's an interesting idea, one that was posed last night, got a lot of talk about it last night, and I think it's going to pick up a lot of steam. I think this is going to be something we're talking about for a while because I think there are some people, some higher ups in college football that are all in on this idea. I mean, think about what this can mean for television and money and all sorts of things. I think there's other people that are going, oh, let's slow down a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how far this goes and if we could see this in the near future of a real thing.
Why would the Big Ten and the SEC ever agree to this when they are the power of college football? Yeah. And if they're not in this, you have nothing.
Great. I mean, there's got to be somebody saying, look at all the money that we could make if we had 80 teams in it. I mean, there's no way, because you could just put those 2 conferences together and they would have all the money they could dream of. So I don't know.
I just can't imagine Greg Sankey going, here, y'all take all our power.
Yeah.
We don't want it anymore.
Right.
Too much money.
Yeah.
too nice a lifestyle.
No, we don't want
this. Yeah. Too much trouble. My not top story, the hockey brawl last night. Just imagine another sport that would be allowed, that would be accepted, that would be part of. Next week at the Masters, just a throwdown right there on number 1. 4, please. Now fighting. Can you imagine an NFL game or a college football game starting like that? It's ridiculous. Why was it condoned? Why was it allowed? And did anyone really fight? I hadn't seen a busted lip or broke nose yet. Have you? I saw a lot of people dancing around.
Sure, absolutely. Well, Brett, I'll steal one of our favorite sayings. That's hockey. That's hockey, Brett.
Hockey.
I mean,
that ends the argument, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm not trying to end the argument, but that's hockey, Brett. It was that was one of the big stories last night. The throwdown just a second after the puck was dropped. Interesting stuff with the Rangers and the Devils. Well, I'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we come back, we're talking showboats with Steve Macy.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your home screaming for an upgrade? Listen closely, because Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is about to make your day. First up, say goodbye to cold showers and hello to endless hot water with our tankless water heater upgrade. Not only does it save space and energy, but it also keeps the hot water flowing exactly when you need it. And here's the kicker. Switch from your old tank to a sleek, efficient tankless water heater now, and Choate's will hand you a $500 credit. Yep, you heard that right. $500 back in your pocket. But wait, there's more. Clogged drains are a hassle no homeowner wants to deal with. With Choate's special offer, get your drains cleared for just $93, or it's absolutely free. That's our guarantee to make it drain, or you don't pay a dime. So why wait? Call Choate's today at 347-8086 or visit us online at choateshvac.com. And remember, Choate's, let our family serve your family.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Here's some hard truth about engagement rings. There are 10 premier designers every woman knows about. They're like the Mercedes or Louis Vuitton of engagement rings. World-class, iconic, quality names. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and these designers are hard to get. And every jewelry store wants them, but very few make the cut. So they have to settle for lesser brands or knockoffs. Around here, there's only one jewelry store that offers these premium rings. It's Genesis Diamonds. Genesis is the only one that made the cut, that meets the highest standards. Genesis is the only store that's allowed to offer these exceptional brands that women really want. Other stores are jealous of this and will try and convince you these are more expensive and try to get you to settle for something else. But the truth is, Genesis has top quality designer rings for under $2,000. It's not about price, it's about craftsmanship and quality and detail and individuality. So don't compromise. Get her a world-class ring she will be proud to wear. Genesis Diamonds on Poplar at Perkins Extended.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, this is Jimmy Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out with Corky.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, this is Jimmy Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out with Corky.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's already slowing down over here at times on 240 eastbound. Here we go. Up by Poplar just like it has all week long. Traffic still moving at the moment over here at I-40 at Warford, Hollywood, continuing over towards White Station. A little bit of radar earlier just west of West Memphis on I-40 as you continue out towards the Arkansas area. Please give yourself extra time out through there in Forest City. That looks like eastbound is still backed up out there from our earlier crash. That's delaying a lot of folks coming through that section of Arkansas. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. It's Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and joining us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, Steve Macy, the Senior Director for Team Business and Event Operations for the Memphis Showboats. He joins us now. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. And the Showboats 1-0, a good weekend for them. Now they return home for the home opener Saturday morning. What'd you think of the first game for them in the UFL?
Well, the one thing that really stood out, obviously winning is a huge thing, but the thing that stood out is Memphis is going to love Case Cookin.
Oh, yeah.
That dude is a Memphian already. He sticks his nose in there. He stands in and takes the hit when the rush is coming in just to complete a pass. I mean, that dude fits us so well. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It was. And Steve, you can tell the quality of play league wide and at the most important position in all of the sport of football, quarterback, is so much better. But that defensive front that the Showboats were going against last week in Houston, that was a pretty salty bunch. And Eli Savoy made a great point on Monday morning. It's just simple math. When you go from 800 players to 400 players, the quality is going to go up. This league is much better than a year ago, Steve.
It really is. I think you can see that just from the guys that are playing, and unfortunately some of the favorites that we lost, especially at the receiver position, that were kind of crowd favorites, and the quarterbacks that were in the room for the Showboats last year, none of the three of them were even back on the team and in the league at all. So it really has been a contrition of talent, and I think that's a good thing. We want spring football obviously to succeed. Memphis deserves a professional football team, and for spring football to succeed, people need to see that this is great football. And I think the TV numbers were phenomenal this past weekend. I think each game averaged over 1 million viewers, which is, that's better than you're going to get for a regular season NBA game. It's better than a baseball game. I mean, the numbers are just what the numbers are, and that's a good thing. And I think we've got radio here locally as well. Memphis is really, really set up to be a very successful franchise, and the only thing that's kind of missing right now is for us to compete with the St. Louis's and the San Antonios for fan interest and people coming to the games. And once we get that, man, this franchise is going to be rolling.
Well, when you mentioned fan favorites from last year's team, I was happy to see watching that game Sunday afternoon, Vinny Papali back with the Showboats, and he made some big-time grabs in that first game. It looks like him and Case Cookus already have that connection. I know fans will be excited to see him back out there.
Well, the catch he made at the back of the end zone was phenomenal. Yeah. He is just a pro. I mean, Vinny is not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy, but he does everything right. He blocks. He runs good routes. He gets himself open when he needs to. He really runs in a way that, you can find him, and he's going to find a spot. So, as a fan favorite, you can obviously see already that he's going to be extremely valuable to the Showboats franchise and the offense.
Steve, tell our listeners how people can get tickets for Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Outstanding weather forecast. I know you've got the physical plan of Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium all spruced up and ready to go. How can people get tickets, be a part of this fund? Because it is very affordable.
So we've got a couple things going on, Stats. So one, and this hasn't been marketed, and I'm just kind of been letting the cat out of the bag. We are going to kind of quietly give away 10 TVs at the game. It won't be quiet when we're at the game, but we have not really promoted that. This is more of a really cool thing that we're doing, get a little buzz going after the game and see, what are they going to do next? So that's one thing that we're doing. But then to get tickets, we have a $10 ticket special, and it's fevo.me, FEVO.me/boats10. So fevo.me/boats10, and you can get $10 tickets to the game. Memphis, this is our pro team. This is our professional football team, and the United Football League is here to stay. There's so much riding on it. There's so many people investing in it, and it's a privilege that we have it. And I hope we take advantage of this. Kind of like it's a privilege to have the FedEx playoffs in golf. These are some things that very few cities get, and Memphis has been kind of plucked out of not out of the air, but plucked up as this is a great place for us to have these things. And, this is something I hope we can all get behind, get excited about the Showboats, and make Saturday a really, really good home field advantage.
And Steve, I know you do it in the sports entertainment business. It's been your whole life. Brian and I hear it all the time there's nothing to do. Here's a simple plan for the weekend. Friday night, go to the Grizzlies game. Saturday morning, go to the Showboat game. Saturday afternoon, go to 901 game. Saturday night, go to the Grizzlies game and watch Mark Gasol's number get retired. Yeah. There's plenty to do here.
Yeah, there really is. And even Friday night, we're going to have a public pep rally down near Beale Street at Hanley Park. The whole team's coming, and Coach DiFilippo is fired up. I've talked to him, I think, every single day this week, and he keeps saying, Steve, you realize this is going to be my first real home game in this league. As the head coach in New Orleans last year, they were that second team in Birmingham.
Right.
So they played 10 games, went 7-3 without a home game, and then to start this season with a road game, win that one. So he's 8-3 as a head coach, and he's yet to play a home game, and he is fired up to have the Memphis crowd behind him and his team. And he said, he goes, I've been describing to these guys how great this home crowd is, because how hard it was for us to play in Memphis last year. He says, I just can't wait. So, I mean, there you've got it from the head coach, how excited he is to be here in Memphis.
Mm-hmm. When you mentioned, I mean, last year, those games, I mean, the fans were getting into it. I mean, I went to a bunch of games last year, and, you know, you saw, and I think you saw more of it here, at least kind of watching games on TV. I mean, it seemed like everybody was decked out in showboat gear. People were buying gear. You see it, you know, at all of those games. So now with the second year, I figure that's only going to build more as more and more people get interested in it.
I mean, Brian, that's the idea, right, is that, hey, this was, you know, last year was kind of a testing year. And I get it. You know, I've been here. We all got burned by the last professional league that was here. Memphis has had 6 stops and starts with pro football, and there's a little skepticism. And, you know, as I look at, you know, that's almost a show me, you know, show me you're going to keep coming here. And I think the things that we've done to show we're staying is, one, they've got me employed full time, you know, throughout the year. They've got teams employed full time throughout the year. We're committed to spending money in the market, continue to do that the last 2 years. We did some build-out stuff with the stadium last year, proving that we're going to be here long-term. But, you know, the thing that I point to is St. Louis, and that's I know it's a bigger city. They're going to have 50,000 people at their home opener this weekend, and they're coming off a loss. And that town has done a great job of saying, I know the NFL kind of screwed us over by leaving. I know the NFL is not coming back, and we're okay with that. We are going to embrace our team. And, you know, I hope that we can do a good job, and me specifically do a good job of convincing my home that we're here to stay and we're here to serve the community and be a great partner in the community. And, you know, I think as people hear this, I hope they understand this is where we're going. And for a long term, this is what is going to be positive for us.
Steve, I watched a lot of the games last weekend. There's so many things I like about it. First of all, they get the ball spot and they get that clock going. These games are on the move. Last weekend, the lowest total point scored was in the Showboats Houston game, just 30 points scored. I think that's a function of defense in any sports a little ahead of the offense early in the season.
I think that's true. And the other thing that I love about this league is that it's a 3-hour window. Mm-hmm. You know, you were talking about what are you going to do this weekend? You know that when this game kicks at 11, you're done at 2.
Yep.
You are.
It's important for them to be on time and to say, hey, this is a product for fans. It's also a product for TV, and a 3-hour window is what they've got. And so, you know, the game is designed around that 3-hour window, and teams are taking advantage of all the things they can do to score. And I love that. I think that, you know, we're going to see some stuff on the Showboats, and the Houston front seven was great last week.
It was.
It was just, I mean, we couldn't run the ball at all, and I expect to see us running it a lot better this weekend. Although San Antonio is a very, very good team. Wade Phillips is the name everybody knows. He's the head coach, and you know he's always had great defenses, whether he was the head coach or the defensive coordinator. And so I expect it to be tough going again. It's going to be a really tough game, but I still do love the way we have it designed to be 3 hours and a lot of fun. You know, half times are short. They're only 12 minutes. So there's not a lot of this, you know, I get all excited and I'm all fired up for, you know, an hour and a half or so, and then you got to wait 20 minutes for the team to start again, man. 12 minutes goes fast.
I love it. And Steve, I love it. I wish college would move halftime along. Look, I love the 1968 homecoming queen, but I don't think we got to introduce her at every game. She had her time.
I think that's a great line, Stats. I'm stealing that one for sure. That's great.
I stole it from our friend Alan Bell. She had her day. Yeah. It's time to move on. Now, Steve, last year on opening day, you barely beat me to the stadium. I'm not promising I'm going to get there as early this year to help you chalk the field, but I know you'll get there early for the 11 o'clock kick.
It's going to be an early morning, but that's okay. I'd take that over the super late nights anytime, and you know, I certainly wouldn't choose an 11 a.m. as my first start time for our fan base. I think that's early. But we do encourage people to get there early this Saturday. There are a couple other events on the Liberty Park property. And so for Showboats fans, we're really encouraging you to use Hollywood and Central to park on the side of the stadium where we're sitting. So Hollywood and Central, we want you there. If you try to come in on Southern, you're going to be running up against another event, and that parking lot's probably going to be full on that side. So parking is only $10. If you want to get it early, go to Liberty, the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium website to get parking early. But, if it gets filled up, we'll be at Toby Park, and if it's filled up there, Christian Brothers, so there'll be plenty of parking, but we do encourage people to get there early just because we're on that one side.
And, Steve, one more time before we let you go, remind people where they can go get tickets.
The ticket link is fevo.me/boats10, fevo.me/boats10.
Perfect. Well, Steve, it's going to be a fun one on Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Hey, fellas, thank you. Hope I see you on Saturday, and go Boats.
You will, Steve. You will. I can't wait. So thank you so much, Steve Macy, with us from the Showboats. And, Brian, let me be clear on halftime. I love the pageantry and the bands of a college halftime. Sure. I don't want to cut into any band time. No. But I think we could shave 3 or 4 minutes off introducing old Broken Bow Reynolds from the 1922 team.
There's a lot of ceremonies, a lot of here's this person or this person or this sponsor or this somebody. There's a lot of that at halftime.
We can do all that pregame.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pregame, timeouts, those extended timeouts we have now with television. Get them in there. I don't know.
And Alan Bell was the first one to say she had her time.
He's right about that. But no, I'm really excited about Saturday.
I can't wait till Saturday.
Yeah.
You're going to be out tomorrow. We will do Showboat Bankroll tomorrow. You and we both won last week. Johnny being the notorious Showboat hater that he is. And I don't get it, Brian. I mean, Johnny, why do you got to hate the Showboat so bad?
Man, I flipped, man. I don't know what I was thinking,
Mr.
man.
Memphis.
I am.
Took Houston last week, lost 100. I mean, money's hard to get a hold of, Johnny, to be throwing it away like that on the first game.
Hey, Brett, these Showboat streets, man, they a little different out here, man.
Hollywood and Central can get tough on you, can't they?
Man, my pocket's a little thin.
Bryant was a winner last week with 50, so he is at 1050. I was a winner with 150, so I'm at 1150. Johnny dropped the Hunsky. He's at 900. We'll do that tomorrow about 5:30, and I think I already have your pick, don't I?
You do, and I'll just share it to everybody. I'm taking
Let
the
world
Showboats.
know, Brian.
I don't even know what the number is. I'm taking the Showboats. I'm only gonna take it for 25 because I don't know what the number is. But
Showboat 17.5-point favorite.
I'm still taking them.
I kid. In fact, San Antonio is listed as a 2.5-point favorite right now.
Wow. Well, this is gonna be a good game. San Antonio.
Let's do it now. We'll just establish it now. All right. 25. You take Showboats plus 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, wow, 2.5. Holy cow. Yeah, I'll definitely take the Showboats.
I take Boats for 25 plus 2.5. Johnny?
Well, let me go ahead and take them for
good team. I mean, they won the first game.
Hey, I see what you doing, man. Let's make it a group lock, Brett. Hey, put me down for $50, man.
Jeez.
50 bones. How about that?
Hope our group lock for Showboat Bankroll is a little better than what we have done in our regular football.
Other group locked them.
Yes. So
everything
we'll
else.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for Saturday morning, 11 a.m. It's should be a good one. I think I saw yesterday. And I know we got to get to a break, but I think I saw this yesterday when I was walking out after we got off at 6 o'clock. They did like the UFL power rankings, and San Antonio, Memphis, they were right there at 2 and 3, I believe. So a lot of people liked what they saw last week from both of these squads. So it should be a really
undefeated
fun
versus
game.
Undefeated.
That's right. So it should be fun. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. The Grizzlies, they were the big winners last night in Milwaukee against the Bucks. We'll talk about that next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Springtime is hot wing time, and time for the ultimate hot wing showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival. Be there Saturday, April 20th at Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy, along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll. All in support of the Ronald McDonald House. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. It's hot wing time in Memphis. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com. This is your delicious chance to make a difference.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of Cashew Crunch, of Heavenly Hash, of Turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg at East Memphis Ace. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ready to cook in only 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between. Change your at-home cooking experience for life with our unmatched, authentic wood-fired grill flavor that has our customers raving. Get your Big Green Egg and all our accessories at East Memphis Ace on the corner of South White Station and Quince Road.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
There were a couple of NBA games on ESPN last night, some interesting outcomes, but I think the biggest one here locally was the game that went down in Milwaukee where the Grizzlies not only get the win, but the season sweep over the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that currently sits in second in the Eastern Conference, 111-101. So back-to-back victories for the Grizzlies as they'll now return home for tomorrow night's game, 2 back-to-back games, tomorrow night against Detroit. Saturday night, a lot of hype around Marc Gasol getting his jersey retired. So that will happen Saturday night against the 76ers, but a massive win for this young, beat-up Grizzlies team last night.
Just a great win. The win of the year at home was the win over Milwaukee, and that may have been the win of the year on the road. 18-22 on the road now, so it makes my math easy. I'll take 1 to go. I'm going to call it a loss.
Sure.
Next year, I'll take 18-23 on opening night. Give me 32-9 at home. Bada bing. That's the magic number in the NBA. 5-0 win season. I'll take that right now.
Absolutely.
This team should be applauded. Taylor Jenkins should be applauded. A lot of reasons to quit. One of them, draft position.
Sure.
Another, that kind of year, they didn't. They haven't. I don't know how many wins are left the rest of the way, but I've been saying that for 2 months now. I didn't know how many was left.
Yeah.
And they've been accumulating really more than I ever thought of that they would get to.
Absolutely. And so that was fun last night. And I think, I know some people are going to say, no, we want to win every game because of draft. Who cares? I mean, draft positioning is going to work itself out. Lottery,
you drive yourself crazy.
You really don't know exactly where they're going to pick. You can play the odds game all you want. Wins like this are fun for the fan base that has to go through a season like this. Nobody expected, last year at this time on April 4th, 2023, that next year we'd be sitting here going, oh, who are the Grizzlies going to take with a top 10 pick? Oh, they just won their 26th game of the season. Nobody expected that. And so these wins are fun. Jaren looked great last night, 35 points for him. Brandon Clark continues to impress since returning with 14 points off the bench.
And has nuked everybody on should he come back and play. This has been beneficial.
It's been great. And last night, super efficient. I mean, 7 for 10.
And I was opposed to it.
Yeah.
I would have had him, just in behind protective glass.
Sure. And I think, there are a lot of good reasonings behind it, but seeing him getting back out there, getting that run,
he comes into camp next year downhill.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's been super beneficial for him. Like I mentioned, 14 points for him. GG with 15 points. He looked good last night. 12 rebounds for GG, a double-double.
Milwaukee better be careful, Brian. They could lose that 2 spot.
Yeah, Brett, it's getting weird in Milwaukee.
6 left, 2 clear in the all-important loss column with Cleveland. They better be careful.
They got to be careful, and Cleveland's still trying to get work done, not only to surpass Milwaukee, but also they've got Orlando staring them down right behind.
Knicks too,
and the Knicks too. That's right. So a lot, and Knicks, question with Julius Randle.
Media darling, the Knicks.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm excited for our next segment, talking to Keith Smith,
Me
because
too.
I'm worried about this Bucks team, back-to-back losses against the Wizards and the Grizzlies. Nobody expected that.
I'm ready for playoff time. I know we're not going to be a part of it this year, but we're still going to enjoy it.
Absolutely. We definitely will. We need to wrap up this first hour and get to a break. When we come back, I mentioned it just a second ago, we're sticking with the same topic of the NBA. Keith Smith, he joins us next.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders' team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Is your home screaming for an upgrade? Listen closely, because Choate's air conditioning, heating, and plumbing is about to make your day. First up, say goodbye to cold showers and hello to endless hot water with our tankless water heater upgrade. Not only does it save space and energy, but it also keeps the hot water flowing exactly when you need it. And here's the kicker. Switch from your old tank to a sleek, efficient tankless water heater now, and Choates will hand you a $500 credit. Yep, you heard that right. $500 back in your pocket. But wait, there's more. Clogged drains are a hassle no homeowner wants to deal with. With Choate's special offer, get your drains cleared for just $93, or it's absolutely free. That's our guarantee to make it drain, or you don't pay a dime. So why wait? Call Choates today at 347-8086 or visit us online at ChoatesHVAC.com. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There is a couple of accidents getting some attention right now. It's pretty sluggish over here, again, just like it has been all week this time of the afternoon on 240 eastbound, trying to get past Bill Morris Parkway, working your way up towards Poplar. I can still see a huge delay over in Arkansas this afternoon. Apparently a bad crash over there earlier on 40 eastbound in Forest City has had traffic just limping along over there in that section of Arkansas headed towards Memphis on 40 going east again. That's way over there in Forest City. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in the Memphis area. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith joins us now on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, as always, from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. Keith, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get into in the NBA, but I do want to start off with the Grizzlies. A big win for them on the road last night against the Bucks. And we've talked a lot about the Grizzlies this year, but with the season winding down, what have you made of this season for the Grizzlies? Because we know it's been kind of this bad year, injury-filled, nothing that anybody would have expected this team to have to go through a year ago, but it does seem like there have been bright spots. You've seen what you're getting out of Vince Williams and G.G. Jackson and getting Brandon Clark back and him back in to that rotation, and then going out and sweeping the Bucks this season has been a fun story. What have you made of this season for Taylor Jenkins and his squad?
Yeah, I think anytime you have a season kind of goes off the rails with injuries and obviously just suspension, and you hit a point of no return where there's just too many guys out. They've missed too many games or too deep in a hole. But I think what they've done is a testament to Taylor Jenkins, his staff, and the players is they've continued to play hard just about every game. They come out, they put in a really good effort. And I think you've also seen here some guys emerge. Like you said, G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams Jr. That wing position has been an issue in Memphis for a number of years now. They've been for a long time we need that second guy alongside Dylan Brooks. And then Desmond Bain kind of came along, and now Brooks is gone, and it's all right, we still need that second wing. Well, now you've got a couple guys who can really play that you figured out. You got them on really good team-friendly contracts. I think they found out Jaren Jackson Jr., we can give him the ball. We can let him be the primary playmaker, an offense facilitator, and really, make things happen. And that's going to be important. I think even a guy like Jake LaRavia, recent weeks has looked pretty good. Brandon Clark has come back. I think him returning now is super important because what happens is now he's not having to do that at the beginning of next year. Mm-hmm. He gets to start next season knowing I can trust my leg. I'm good. I have a good full summer of work and get right back after that.
I know they want some time off, but I wish training camp was starting next week.
Yeah, I bet there's part of that for them too, right? Is man, we want to get back after it, because I said this last night after they beat the Bucks. That there's a world where the Grizzlies are awesome next year. Like they're going to have almost like added a whole bunch of new acquisitions without having to actually go out and get anybody. You're going to have John Morant. You're going to have Desmond Bain. You're going to have Marcus Smart. You're going to have all those key guys back. I mean, if you told most teams, hey, we're going to add you a whole new backcourt, and it's going to be John Morant, Desmond Bain, and Marcus Smart, I think most teams would be like, let's go. I'm ready for the season to start now.
Announced this week that Steve Clifford would not be back in Charlotte. I don't think many people real surprised by that. A couple other openings already. We knew Brooklyn. We know Washington. We wonder what might happen in Milwaukee. Do you think Doc's back next year if there's a early Milwaukee exit?
I'm going to be very curious to see. Now, I'm pretty certain the Bucks don't want to have to pay 4 coaches all at once. They're already paying 3. I'm pretty certain they don't want to have to pay a 4th one. But, Doc is, I've defended Doc for years because he was so good for the Celtics. It helped, keep that team, help build that roster very quickly. People forget when they made the Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett trade, it was pretty much Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Kendrick Perkins, Rajon Rondo, and not much else. And it was go build a roster, go find a bunch of guys on the fly. The Kevin Garnett trade, I think it gets forgotten. That trade was executed on July 31st. So it was very late in the summertime. Most of the free agents were gone. Teams were already, all right, this is our last month in training camp. And Doc built them into a title contender. Now, with the Bucks, though, and really then with the Clippers and part of his time in the Sixers, he's become like an excuse machine. It's somebody else's fault all the time. It's now he's blaming equipment managers and bus drivers and pilots and all kinds of other silliness. And it's like, what are we doing here? This is, let's be a little bit more accountable than this. So I'm not sure where it's going to go for him.
I was going to try to shape this question around a surprise retirement. When I say that, who I'm talking about. Pop or Steve Kerr, anything from either one at the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Pop is re-energized now. He's got, I think he's going to coach Wembanyama for as long as he can. I think he's, every time you see him and you hear him talk, he just seems like a guy who is so excited and so happy to be building something again, right? He's building a team up almost from the bottom up. And I think, I know if it was me, I'd want to coach Victor Wembanyama, for the next 10 years if I felt he had the energy and ability to do so. So we'll see. And then I think with Steve Kerr, I think that Warriors group, I still believe, because I don't think Klay Thompson ends up going anywhere this summer. We'll see. Maybe ownership says, all right, enough is enough. We got to cut back on the spending here, and we've got a couple other young guards, and we feel like we can go that way. But I think when I really look at that Warriors team, I got to believe there's some at least discussion of Kerr, Curry, Green, Thompson. Let's all go out together, and we'll run this as long as we can, and then all 4 of us are going to move on at the same time.
Speaking of Pop and the Spurs, Wembanyama's been awesome this season. I mean, an unbelievable rookie campaign for him. So for the Spurs, what is in your mind should be their to-do list for this offseason to continue to build around Wemby?
Yeah, you got to find a point guard. You got to find a long-term point guard, somebody who can really, be his running mate and make life easy on him as they grow together and become whatever that's going to be. I love Trey Jones, but Trey Jones is a lot like his brother in some respects, where if he's your starter, you're like, all right, that's not bad. he's your backup, you're like, all right, I feel pretty good about that. Devin Vassell's a nice player. Jeremy Sohan's a nice player. But they really need that point guard now to come in, be that. They're going to have opportunities in the draft, whether it's Rob Dillingham or Reed Shepard, or maybe it's Nikola Topic. We know the Spurs and their success with overseas players, so that could be the direction they go. Or there's, maybe trade. Maybe they look at something in free agency. We'll see. But that'd be my first order of business is go get them a point guard.
Mm-hmm. Talking NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Track and Front Office Show. He mentioned the Bucks earlier with the Grizzlies beating them last night. That's now back-to-back losses for the Bucks against the Wizards and the Grizzlies. They're only a game and a half ahead of the Cavaliers and only 2 games ahead of the Magic that sit in 4th place right now. Are you worried at all about the Bucks and kind of these last 2 games for them?
Oh, I really am, yeah, and it goes beyond just the last 2 games. It's been very uneven for them for most of the year. And it's funny because I saw a little bit of, they didn't have Damian Lillard, they didn't have this guy. And I'm like, yeah, Washington and Memphis don't want to hear about who you don't have. Those are two of the last teams that want to, hear your sob story about missing guys for a game or two. Like that's not anything that those teams want to have. And it's just, they don't defend consistently. And then offensively, you saw it last night. Without Damian Lillard, it really all falls to Giannis. Giannis isn't going to create everything. They're not going to get much. And then Damian Lillard is very, very strong. He's still very capable of putting up 40 points and winning a game almost all by himself. But the other challenge with Damian Lillard is you get to a spot where if you look at his game log, there's a lot more 3 for 17, 6 for 20 in those kind of games. He hasn't finished well at the rim. He's not a very good defensive player. So that's just been part of why that Bucks team has been so uneven throughout the course of the year.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned the Cavs in Orlando right there behind them. And then right there in the 5 spot is the New York Knicks. And this morning, the big story that Julius Randle will be out the rest of the season as he's going to have season-ending surgery on his shoulder. What does that mean for the Knicks once they get to the playoffs? Obviously, Brunson has been unbelievable this year. But, to lose your second leading scorer and your leading rebounder, that really hurts in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I say this fully recognizing Julius Randle hasn't always been very good in the playoffs, but this feels like this is kind of the death blow for that Knicks team because everything falls to Jalen Brunson right now. Their next best kind of offense creators are guys like Bojan Bogdanovic, who hasn't played very well since getting to New York, Miles McBride, who I like Deuce McBride. He's a good player, but you're talking in a playoff series, this guy's going to be generating large chunks of offense. Pitcher in his back, but he doesn't look like he's fully healthy and ready to go. We still have no idea what's going to happen with OG Anunoby. I know in the playoffs, they're going to go in. They're going to make it difficult on whoever they play. They're going to defend. They're scrappy. They're going to play very hard for long stretches. It's just going to be very hard for them to score enough points. I think their best hope is get maybe Orlando, who's going through it for the first time in the postseason. Maybe you can turn that into a whole bunch. I laughed. A couple months ago, everybody was clamoring for, I want those games where defense really matters. Yeah, well, let's get 7 games of 95-90 rock fights between the Magic and the Knicks in the postseason. Let's see how much everybody loves that. And that's probably their best hope for advancing. I think I would pick most other teams to advance over them.
Yeah, it's like I am about golf tournaments. I like birdies. I like a little scoring in NBA, sure. Keith. I don't know that I want to go to 90, 89 games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess, I get it. I understand. It got out of control for a little bit there where it was like, man, every single night somebody's dropping 60. But I don't need to return to the days where it was like, oh, hey, this guy got 25 points and he was the leading scorer by 10 points on either team because nobody could make a jump shot, nobody could move because, we're hand checking and grabbing and all that stuff. That's just, to me, that's not super enjoyable either. So I think the league's done a pretty good job of finding a nice balance. But, Orlando, New York, those are two teams that, but no matter who they draw in the postseason, they're going to do their best to kind of really get in there and make sure it's, hey, let's make this ugly, let's make it nasty, let's turn it into a street fight, because that's our best chance of advancing.
How much has Zach Edey, if he has, improved his draft stock?
Yeah, I think he's improved it. I think playing high-level games and being this dominant is certainly going to be something that teams are going to help. I always go back to, you talk to most people, and they're like, you can't overreact to the tournament one way or another. If a kid is bad in the tournament, you don't want to, take them off your board because, maybe just had a bad week. But you also don't want to go crazy when a guy has a nice tournament run. But I think Zach Edey helped himself. I think the fact, too, you have a lot of teams that they're comfortable with playing a guy like him because they'll play that drop coverage. They'll play the system where they funnel everything to the big man and let him clean it up, and they don't ask him to step out and defend on the perimeter and that kind of stuff. I think those are really important, things. And I think for Zach Edey, much more than about, does he go top 10? Does he go top 15 or whatever? It's going to be about where does he go. The fit is going to be what ultimately matters for Zach Edey. If he gets to the right team, they'll coach him up. They'll make him successful. And they'll go on. The wrong team that doesn't use him right, we see sometimes those guys, sometimes they don't come back at all, but other times it's 3, 4, 5, 6 years into a career before they kind of find a home and figure it out.
What's the biggest case of too much heat of the moment after a Final Four in draft position? Because I'll defend Emeka Okafor coming off 2004 MOP. Okay, he wasn't a great NBA player, but what is the case of the one where they got drafted maybe too high because of Final Four?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd have to really go back and think about it. I think a guy who stands out, I can't remember exactly how deep they went in the tournament, but I know Joe Forte, down back a ways for North Carolina. Boston picked him, and he just wasn't very good.
Was that 2000?
Somewhere right around there. Randy Foye was another guy who really struggled. Never really found his footing in the NBA. I mean, he had a nice career, but was never that guy where it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy there. So I think teams have gotten better over the last decade or two of really saying, all right, not that we still don't have Bucks. We still absolutely do. But I don't think it's the guy where it's like, oh, we got to go get that guy because that guy made the big run in the tournament. I think teams have been better. I think another example that comes to mind is Wally Zerbiak. He had a few nice games during March Madness, and he might have gotten overdrafted a little bit. But those are all going back a ways because I generally think teams have gotten better at avoiding the, hey, let's go get that guy because he was so great on TV in front of everybody over the last week.
Then there's the next category. A good tournament sure didn't hurt him. And here in Memphis, I think that tournament run really helped Mike Conley.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's definitely true. I think it certainly didn't hurt Greg Oden any. To put him in the position where he got drafted. That was obviously huge that year for him. So yeah, I think that's a good one. I think all the Florida guys, Al Horford and Joakim Noah and Corey Brewer, especially probably Corey Brewer, because Horford and Noah, I think everybody knew those guys were going to be good players. And who would believe Al Horford and Mike Conley still going, and still playing when everybody else from around their time, except for really Kevin Durant, LeBron James, for the most part, are done. Like some of them are long since done, and those guys are still going and playing key roles on very good teams, like just unbelievable. And I think for guys like Horford and Conley, it's been that adaptability in their game, right? Because Mike Conley, for years and years, it was, well, he's a good player, but he can't shoot. Well, now all of a sudden, Mike Conley's a real good shooter. And for Al Horford, it was, this guy was an inside, that's what he did. He was an inside player, he's a good passer, but he all of a sudden, he was like, I got to start shooting. And he really developed that towards the end of his Atlanta time, has gone to whole new levels, since he's been with Boston. But yeah, those are guys there. I think John Morant, to some extent, boosted his draft stock by having, the really good run that he had in March through the conference and then in the NCAA tournament where, he played well. I think he came up with a triple-double, if I remember right. It was one of the first ones we'd had in a while. So those are big things as well.
Mm-hmm. Here locally, a lot of Grizzly fans have been kind of looking at the draft, where they have the Grizzlies projected to pick and who they have them taking in most of the mock drafts. It seems like a lot of people have noticed a lot of mock drafts have Donovan Clingan, the big man for UConn, as a selection for the Grizzlies. What do you think of that fit for Clingan and the Grizzlies?
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. I think Clingan's going to be a kid who can be a lot like what Derek Lively has been this year, what Walker Kessler was 2 years ago, where it's going to be bring him in, put him in your rotation right away. You don't have to start him, but give him 15, 20 minutes and let him do the things he does, which is run to the rim and block shots. And Lincoln's going to be able to do that. I think Memphis, the way they've developed players, the fact that they had some other bigs that can be a great fit for him would be him in. And we're not asking you to come in and be the savior and play, 35 minutes a night, and dominate, and be the rookie of the year. We just need you to be pretty good and grow into a role. And I think he'd be really good. I also think there's a chance. I don't think it's going to come maybe till we're in like year 5, 6, maybe. I think he's going to extend his range on his jumper. He's got nice touch around the free throw line. He's got just a nice little jump shot there. And when you see that, sometimes at the college level, even in very limited amounts, you can see that range get extended out. So I think he's going to be a big time player in the NBA, just because I think he's a kid who kind of knows, and part of it is he's on UConn with a whole bunch of other good players, and it has been there for a couple of years. He knows, hey, I just got to come in and play a role to be really good.
Going back to the standings for a quick second, in the Western Conference, you've got 3 teams fighting for that number 1 spot. Right now, Minnesota holds the tiebreaker over Denver. OKC only a game back. If you had to pick right now, who is the number 1 seed in the Western Conference?
Denver. I still think it'll be the Nuggets when all is said and done. They're just the team I trust the most. They're also dealing with the least. They've got Jamal Murray, and that's starting to get a little, are we being cautious here, or are we really dealing with something? That's something that I've kind of got my eye on. But we know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is working through a quad injury. Jalen Williams is banged up. That's the Thunder's 2 best players out, and that's been really hard on them. And then the Wolves, they've done better than I think almost any of us thought they would without Karl Anthony Towns, but that's still something they're dealing with. But I think that race, as much as, really all of them in the Western Conference, nobody can get separation. Everybody is, all right, we won. Oh, everybody else won. Oh, we lost. Everybody else lost. Like, it's all stays within a game or so of each other. And I think that's going to lead to a spot where we're talking next Thursday about the last weekend coming up in the season, and we're going to be like, yeah, I believe nothing's still decided. We're still here trying to let it all sort out, which is a lot of fun to monitor down the stretch run.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun home stretch for the NBA regular season. But, Keith, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Keith.
Keith Smith with us every week talking the NBA, and we're getting down to the end of the year, and the playoff standings really starting to cement, and not a lot of drama on who's going to be in, but still some drama on seeding positions.
I mean, we've pretty much got in the East, we know exactly who's going to be in it. Every team's been eliminated. The Rockets are pretty much eliminated. I mean, as much as they want to
tonight, last gasp.
It feels like it. I mean, they're 3 games back on Golden State. It's too much. It feels too much to make up. So it feels like we know everyone who's going to be in it. But like Keith was saying, there's a lot of spots in both the East and the West where you've got teams that are only a game back, half a game back, 2 games back, where it could get wild over these next couple weeks as we wrap this season up.
In the barbecue capital of the world, it's hard to stand out, but the commissary, they do that with 2 great locations, like the new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown since 1981. That's where it started for Walker Taylor and his team, now expanded to 2 great locations. And the Collierville Commissary is perfect for a big group to go there and enjoy all the games, get-togethers, and have a good time in the patio with this great weather. We can get outside and enjoy that with music on the weekend, the TVs, all the sports, and that great Memphis-style barbecue. It's done the authentic, slow-cooked Memphis way. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary to 33733. Start your barbecue feast with appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales, the smoked chicken wings, or the barbecue nachos that are a staple of sport everywhere now, created in the early 80s by Walker Taylor and the great folks at the commissary. Then dig into the ribs of the shoulder, chopped or pulled, on a plate, on a sandwich, all the sides, beans, slaw, bread, deviled eggs. You can order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. Save room for dessert. Quite a challenge, like the strawberry cake, the banana pudding, the lemon icebox pie. Here's the number to call and order, 901-754-4649, 5540. Go online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and in Germantown. Great party areas. Perfect place to enjoy the 2 games Saturday of the national semifinals. Orders to go, catering, tailgating, any season, whether it's showboat season, Grizzly season, Tiger basketball season, college football, anytime. The commissary is a fun place to go with the great food. 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
Well, I'm excited for our next segment, so let's go ahead and get to a break because we're heading out to Arizona to the Final Four to talk Alabama basketball with the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've been having a good time at Mugshots Grill and Bar in Olive Branch. Soon you'll be having a good time at a brand new Mugshots. Mugshots Grill and Bar is opening their first Tennessee location at 656 West Poplar in Collierville, where you can try one of Mugshots' 19 specialty burgers, including the Mugshot Burger. Finish it in 12 minutes and it's free, plus you get a free t-shirt. So cheers to great food, good drinks, and fun company at Mugshots Grill and Bar, where you're always having a good time.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Professional football is back as your Memphis Showboats have 5 home games this season, starting with a home opener on Saturday, April 6th at 11 a.m. The Showboats are coming off a strong first year and have added a ton of firepower to the offense, highlighted by quarterback Case Cookus, the 2022 Player of the Year, and the return of fan favorite Vinny Papali. Let's make Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium the best home field advantage in the UFL. For tickets, visit theufl.com. That's theufl.com. Go Boats!
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, Chris Stewart, voice of the Crimson Tide, joins us now from the Final Four. Chris, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. And what has the season been like? What has this run through March Madness been like for you with this Alabama basketball team?
It has been amazing. I've done this for 22 years now. In fact, it's kind of ironic. My very first game as the voice of the Crimson Tide with basketball was 22 years ago. It was at Madison Square Garden. It was Alabama and Oklahoma, and it was game 2 of a twin bill between the Tide and Oklahoma. And the first game was actually Cal and Memphis versus Syracuse and Jim Boeheim.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, with Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, we debuted at the Garden on the same night, Carmelo and I did. And the irony in all this is the fact, and I apologize for the noise. As you can tell, I'm in the bowels of the stadium, and it's a little noisy. But anyway, the irony in all of this is the fact that Dave Woloshin sees me and he goes, "Chris, what are you doing here?" Because we knew each other, but he didn't know I'd gotten the job. And I said, "Wolo, I'm the voice of the Crimson Tide, and I'm as stunned by that fact as you are." And 22 years later, I'm still shocked and still amazed that I'm getting to do what I do, and especially here in a Final Four for the first time.
Oh, Chris, that's a great story. You know Dave loves you like we love you, and David Crane, and so happy for him, but so happy for you, and now you will be the permanent voice of the Crimson Tide football team. How has it gone over in the ultimate football town of Final Four basketball into college basketball nirvana?
Yeah, Brett, this is a place that's used to winning and loves winning, and there are a ton of basketball fans, and they all say, look, I love Bama football, but Alabama basketball is something that means a lot to me. And for them to have the chance to enjoy and celebrate what is the first Final Four in school history is beyond exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, this run through March Madness has been fun. It seems like a lot of different guys are stepping up for Alabama. And, you had the Grant Nelson game a couple of games ago. Nick Pringle has stepped up. Mark Sears has obviously played extremely well. But what has been kind of the big thing that has jumped out to you that has been kind of the biggest factor for this Alabama team through this tournament?
I think it's the fact, first of all, that Mark Sears has continued to be Mark Sears. That's the reason he was the regional MVP. And we're so used to him putting up 20 every night that I've come almost, it's been the 7th or 8th thing that I've talked about and realized, what, you do need to start there. And then from there, I think it's really the fact that somebody different has stepped up every game. Yeah. You go to the Grand Canyon game, and it was Mohamed Diabate, the freshman, in the last 7 or 8 minutes. It was phenomenal. Grant Nelson, who had the double-double against North Carolina with 24 and 12, and then Jaron Stevenson, who steps in and has a career game with 19 points, including 5 threes in the victory against Clemson that puts you in the Final Four. But in between that, Aaron Estrada, so good, so solid, and also Rylan Griffin picking up the slack on the defensive end as well as offensively without Latrell Wrightsell being available in these last 2 ball games. So it's been so amazing to watch them do what they've done in the semis and finals for the West Regional without being at full strength.
Chris, for a team that's very reliant on making a lot of bombs, a lot of three-point shots, do you think the depth perception, the shooting in that big old cavernous dome, how will it affect the Tide?
No, we'll see. They've done an amazing job of just focusing on what needs to be done, whether that includes, media attention, whether that includes the pressure of what's next and trying to get somewhere that they've never gotten. And I've got a feeling that'll also happen in terms of a very tangible thing like focusing on the rim when they're trying to shoot in something that's about as big as the Grand Canyon inside one of these dome stadiums. So it'll be a very special opportunity. They're getting in here and shooting some today. They're going to have a chance to do that again tomorrow. And then I believe even on game day on Saturday morning that they'll have an opportunity early. I may be incorrect in that, but they'll be as prepared as they can. How they handle the glass is probably going to be about as big a factor as how they handle the depth perception.
Chris, through all the years of you covering Crimson Tide sports, you've had the chance to be there with a sideline reporter or a play-by-play announcer for a lot of interviews with Coach Nick Saban after a lot of big wins, coaches shows, things like that. Give me some similarities between Nick Saban and Nate Oates.
I think they're both incredibly focused. I think they're really determined and competitors that rival anybody in that regard. There's nobody that wants to win more than Nate Oates does. I think also the fact that he's been humble enough to call on Coach Saban and ask his feedback and opinion on how to handle championship situations like this. And I've always admired the fact that one of the first things he did was not just reach out to Coach, but in that before he coached his first basketball game at Alabama, Coach Saban had offered him, his help in however he could. And he goes, Coach, if you don't mind, I'd really like to follow you around and kind of watch how you do things game week. And so he said, you got an open window. And he allowed him to come in. And Nate spent an entire day, got there before Coach Saban did, had a notebook in hand, filled up a notebook the entire day, didn't leave until Coach left that night after 10 o'clock. It said in every meeting, in between, talked to assistant coaches, then was invited to come back on game day, brought another notebook, and had a full notebook full of notes that he took, learning. I mean, this is a guy that already had acquired the job at Alabama, but he knew that just like whenever Nick Saban used to bring in speakers to talk to his program, he would sit on the front row and have a notebook in hand so that he could learn. That's exactly what Nate Oates is doing. And I think their confidence in themselves and their plan, but also their humility in understanding that there's always something you can learn from somebody else is equally impressive.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, Chris, it's going to be a fun weekend and a fun game between Alabama and UConn. But I know it's really busy out there in Arizona, so thanks so much for joining us, and let's get you on again.
Guys, I'd love to anytime. Just give me a call. Take care.
Thank you, Chris. Roll Tide. Good luck to the Tide. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Chris Stewart with us from out at the Final Four. And can you imagine the value of that notebook in 25, 30 years, whatever, at the estate sale for Nate Oates? That would be like the sports version of the Gutenberg Bible.
Unbelievable. I mean, just imagine, going somewhere, an auction or something like that, and here's a notebook that Nate Oates jotted down things he learned from Nick Saban. And, I mean, that's incredible. It just shows, that work ethic. I mean, nobody you'd probably want to learn how to coach in the state of Alabama, coaching in general, but really in the state of Alabama than Nick Saban. And Brett, we talk so often. You sometimes have coaches that come in and they've got this ego and they've, it's my way or the highway, and, they kind of butt heads with other coaches in other sports. But for Nate Oates to go in and realize, hey, I can learn a lot from Nick Saban, and I have this opportunity to reach out and get that done. That's just awesome to hear, because you don't really see that much in college athletics.
And Chris mentioned that Coach Saban would do that for that all-star roster of speakers he would bring in. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching the video of when Kobe Bryant was there speaking.
Yeah.
And there's Nick Saban taking notes, like a 8th grade math student.
It's crazy. So I mean, it's it's a good person to learn from, and so no, I
you can always learn too.
Absolutely, but you've got to be willing to learn, and there are a lot of coaches out there that are not willing to learn from other coaches.
It's fun to see my Bama football friends so fired up about this weekend.
Sure.
And I was texting with Barrett Jones, whose dad played in the early 80s for Wimp Sanderson on the Alabama basketball team, on some good teams, on some really good teams. And, he was kind of a basketball first guy, and then had that house full of football players that played for the Mighty Tide, starting with Barrett and what he did, but also the other sons that did so well. And it's fun to see them excited about this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's with Alabama, it's always been, football, all the success in football. And so, to see him having success in another sport, it's cool to see. Obviously everyone knows an Alabama fan, and so seeing some of my buddies from high school that were big Alabama fans, posting after all these games, another Alabama win and stuff like that. It's cool.
You'll see it tomorrow driving around in Memphis and in Shelby County, especially on Saturday. The decorated cars will be out with the Bama stuff, because there's a lot of Bama fans in our area.
There are, and so no, it'll be fun, and
And in football, it attracts the winning attracts even more and more.
Of course, absolutely. So I mean, I hope Alabama, is competitive Saturday. We've talked about it plenty this week. It is certainly an uphill battle against that UConn
I'll be
team.
shocked.
I will too, and I know we talked to Pat the other day, and I saw he posted today his Pat Ponders or whatever, kind of saying what happened Saturday, and it was UConn covers the spread, Alabama keeps it close, or Alabama pulls the upset, and so it's interesting. I'm glad there's a ton of excitement, but I'd be surprised if Alabama even covers that spread.
I think it would rank up there in the big Final Four upsets. So one of the biggest was in '91 to launch the Duke dynastic run. They were good that year, but it really got them known nationwide when they beat Mighty Vegas in the semis in Indianapolis. And you go back, kind of any UCLA exit from the tournament, especially in the semis in '74 when David Thompson and NC State upset them. This one would be way up there.
Yeah, no, it certainly would be. So, I mean, I'm excited for both these games. And, UConn, Alabama, obviously here a lot more intrigued because of Alabama being in that game. But then also Purdue and NC State. I know a lot of the interviews going on today for all of these teams. And I saw Zach Edey was asked about DJ Burns. I thought this was interesting. Kind of asked about him as a player, what he's done. And Zach Edey said, I think people are being disrespectful to him. I think people are disrespecting him, kind of making him this. I think his exact quote was, called him kind of a sideshow of, this. He's just kind of this awkward big man, doesn't look like he should be playing basketball, but soft on his toes, and it's just kind
that first round exit.
Yeah, and so he
last year.
Yeah, and so he said that they have been focusing on DJ Burns and that they are going to go about him kind of trying to shut him down and giving him that respect that he's a really good player. So I'm excited to watch that Zach Edey versus DJ Burns Saturday night.
Yeah, man. And Brian, you made a real great point. But especially when you're talking about, like, there have been some disrespect about him, but especially a lot of national disrespect. A lot of guys are saying he should be an NFL player, laughing around like Shannon Sharp. I did see stuff like that, so I have seen different little things what Zach Edey has said, and that just showed the respect that he has for him, because he do get a lot of respect as well, man. He deserves it.
Sure.
And DJ Burns put the kibosh any football. He said, "No way, I'm not getting hit."
No. Yeah, man, he's not doing that, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of those basketball guys.
There have been Antonio Gates is a big one. The Cowboys had a great defensive back in the day. Cornell Green, that came largely from basketball. It happens. But you have to have that physical mindset for it for years to really to really do that. I mean, it's one thing hitting that other fella. It's another when he hits you back.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's certainly a different.
That's
sport
a great point.
than
That's a great point.
basketball. But I'm excited. It's going to be really
It's
fun.
the story
weekend.
Barkley tells. He said, he said, I don't know what grade, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, he goes out, and it was fun, getting after the quarterback and all that. Then get chop blocked, then catch one right under the chops.
Yeah.
Hey man, no thanks.
Yeah.
I've had enough of this.
Yeah, I am good on that. So that's always the fun. I remember when I was in high school, the coaches would always try to go find that big forward on the basketball team.
Yeah, well, you had one, didn't you?
Well, we did after I had left. He was
okay.
after me. Brock Weiss they threw out there, who was like, I mean, good Lord, he was
just
like
run the slant,
6'5", and they were like, hey, just maybe even taller than that. I think he's like 6'7" or 6'8". They were like, man, they had this play. I mean, anytime they were inside the 5-yard line, throw him out there,
automatic.
Just run a fade. We'll just lob it up there and go act like you're grabbing a rebound. But there were a lot of guys when I was in high school. Hey man, come out football. You're fast. You're athletic. And nah, coach. I
everybody recruited the basketball team.
I don't want to get hit. So
hitting that blocking sled is different than posting up for a rebound.
Yes.
Say it again, Bray.
It just is.
It is. So
it's quite a different science.
No, absolutely.
And no more than football. Just because I'm tall that I can make the move to basketball.
Absolutely. But I'm excited for this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun watching these 4 teams go after each other. Well, before we go to a break, let me tell you, all of this action going on, baseball starting, basketball continuing to roll. I know you're looking for a night out, a place to catch these games, hang out with some friends. So let me point you into the direction of Bell Tavern, located at 117 Barbaro Alley, right behind 117 Prime. Open from 4 to 11 Wednesday through Saturday and 4 to 8 on Sundays. Look, I know nobody likes a loud bar where you can't hear yourself think, much less talk, but that's the opposite of Bell Tavern. It's not one of these sports bars. It's just a nice bar that you will enjoy, but it's also got plenty of TVs, so you won't miss a second of the action. Start your night with a gourmet burger, one of their great cocktails in that quiet, dimly lit bar that you can enjoy at with your friends. And it's not just the burgers. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis, the coldest beer in the city. 117 Prime. Just walk through the dining room and you're at the best bar in town. For more information about our friends over at Bell Tavern, give them a call, 901-249-6580. That's 901-249-6580. Go online to belltavern.com. Let's go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Genesis Diamonds came to Memphis to change the way people here buy diamonds. Response has been incredible, as our radical approach and no middleman markups have shown how other jewelers mark up their natural diamonds. And now we're showing you behind the curtain on lab-grown diamonds as well. For example, one major retailer is selling a pair of 5-carat round lab-grown diamond stud earrings for $18,000. Our price is just $8,900. That's less than half their price. Or their 3-carat lab-grown diamond earrings priced at $8,000. Genesis price, $4,900. A savings of more than $3,000 with better quality diamonds. If they're charging this much on lab-grown diamonds, kind of makes you wonder what else they're selling at the same outrageous markup. But now you have a choice. At Genesis Diamonds, we guarantee to beat anyone else's price, and our other non-commissioned trusted advisors are here to give you all the information with details you can trust and the strongest warranties in America. Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra cart fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. You'll find the lowest rates on Tuesday through Thursday afternoons. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf.
Hey, Brett, man, I might even get a hat, man. That'd be amazing.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through April 23rd, get a $15 gift card when you buy 5 or more quarts of Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H-Test versus API SP test limits.
Grizz Nation, join us this Friday at 7 p.m. for a special Mark Gasol retirement night when your Memphis Grizzlies take on the Philadelphia 76ers. The first 5,000 fans get a commemorative vinyl record, and be sure to stay for the post-game ceremony. Get tickets today at Grizzlies.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
How about we shake it up today and let Brett go first today?
I'm ready. Here we go. I didn't know we were having those shake it up.
Oh, a little shake up. You gotta stay on your toes, Brett.
I'm ready. My big number is 9. 9 domes to host both a Super Bowl and a Final Four. State Farm Stadium will do that Saturday. They've done it before in Phoenix. They have many Super Bowls there. Georgia Dome in Atlanta, no longer, but they did. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The Superdome in New Orleans. Metrodome, the old Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis. They've done it. And also the new stadium, U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, to host both. Arlington at Jerry's World, NRG in Houston, and Detroit at Ford Field. But only one to host Final Four, Super Bowl, and a World Series. And that was the old Metrodome, and they did it in a 6-month span. 91 Fall Classic, Super Bowl late January of 92, and then Christian Laettner, and Bobby Hurley and Duke winning the Final Four there in late March of 92. They had it all in one stadium in a 6-month span. I don't think anything else can do that now, can it?
No, I don't think so. It'd be tough. It'd be really tough.
Yeah, because you just almost nobody shares football, basketball, or football, baseball anymore.
Right.
Dome or cookie cutter.
Right. So yeah, I mean that'd be tough, but I mean I wouldn't mind seeing it. I mean that'd be fun to see.
Got your money's worth if you lived in Minneapolis in that 6 months,
right.
didn't you?
You sure did. You sure did. That's a really good big number. My big number comes from minor league baseball of all places, but I think this warrants it. My big number is 37. That was the combined total number of runs scored last night in the AAA game between the Norfolk Tides and the Charlotte Knights. Norfolk, the AAA team of the O's, the Baltimore Orioles, and Brett, we've talked about it. I think we're about to see what we saw a couple years ago with that Tampa Bay Rays AAA team. I think that's going to be this Tide team this year because they are are unbelievable. They've got so many prospects, and a big win for them. They won 26-11 last night against the Knights. We saw the Knights last week here in Memphis against the Redbirds, and Redbirds looked good against them and didn't give up this many runs in any game. So that does worry me about the pitching for Norfolk, but still to put up that many runs. Norfolk recorded 29 hits while Charlotte finished with 12. They'll play again tonight at 6:04, and that Norfolk team will be in Memphis next month, May 7th through 12th. So I'm telling, everybody needs to find a day during that week that they're here to get down there and see some of those prospects, because a lot of those guys we'll see before the end of this year and then next year going forward. We'll see those guys in Baltimore.
And Brian, we've seen it the last few years. They just look different. Their whole approach is very aggressive at the plate, and on the base paths, they're always trying the first to third act, or really push it, really be aggressive. Score from second, score from first. They do. It's been fun to see them, and we've seen the growth of the Orioles. This morning, I don't see this headline anymore. It's kind of other stuff's replaced it as the day's gone on.
Sure.
But the first headline I saw this morning at ESPN.com, it said, Orioles prospects have historic night. And okay, that's right, technically, but it almost made it sound like it was some exhibition prospect big classic, out in Wichita, Kansas or something. Shouldn't the headline just been AAA team of the Orioles or AAA Norfolk? It's again, in minor league baseball's done it to itself. How it's just it's been the incredible shrinking sport, and so disrespected. And I have I sent you that ticket stub and my credential from 1993. Credential from 1993 to cover the Chicks. I have loved going to minor league baseball, and I hate kind of over at the bad table it's been put.
Yeah, I have the headline for you now because you're absolutely right. Orioles prospects light up for 26 runs in record-setting show.
That?
So
would be too much. Say AAA Norfolk, the AAA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles, have record night. But to make it sound like it was some home run derby out in Keokuk, Iowa.
Orioles AAA affiliate lights it up for 26 runs.
I hate how minor league baseball has let itself get treated.
No, I'm with you on that, and it's really hurt itself. And you're just seeing it kind of crumble in itself. So I really do.
The incredible shrinking sport.
It has been. It absolutely has been. Well, we need to wrap up this hour, but before we do that, the weekend, it is almost here. I know you're looking for a night out. Let me point you into the direction of 117 Prime, located at 117 Union Avenue, opening 4 p.m. daily. 117 Prime offers perfect steaks cooked to your liking over hickory wood for the best flavor in town. And their meat, it's regionally sourced for the best taste. So you don't have to worry about it traveling cross-country like some of these other steakhouses. Pair your steak with a wine from their award-winning wine menu or switch it up with the wine of the month. Not a fan of beef? No problem. 117 Prime also offers outstanding seafood like oyster, shrimp, and lobster. Also, get down there right now. Enjoy their happy hour from 4 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, for the best happy hour that downtown Memphis has to offer. To make reservations, head over to 117prime.com or give them a call, 901-433-9851 for 117 Prime. When we come back, we'll start our third hour. We'll talk Tigers with Greg Gaspin.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Southern Security Federal Credit Union is a proud supporter of Memphis women's basketball and is thankful to have served the greater Memphis area for over 70 years. Southern Security is a not-for-profit financial cooperative whose mission is to help its members financially. Whether that's through providing savings options, being a lending source, or simply providing convenience, each member's needs are unique. Southern Security, your home team credit union, and a proud supporter of University of Memphis Athletics.
Everyone's getting excited about March Crazy.
Don't you mean madness?
No, crazy. You know, the Crazy Coupe.
The Crazy what?
The Crazy Coupe. 7199 Highway 64 between Appling and Kirby Whitten. Not only do they have the best chicken wings in Memphis, they've got 32 crazy flavors to choose from.
I like to eat.
The Coupe has you covered. 1 juicy Big Burger, 2 crispy chicken tenders, fries or okra, and a drink for $19.99. Want more? How about a Crazy Coupe's Ultimate Family Feast? 4 burgers, 8 crispy chicken tenders, choice of fries or okra, and 4 drinks for less than $70.
Now that's a crazy good price.
I think the wings are so good at the Crazy Coupe, they'll change the games to March Crazy.
That's crazy enough. It just may work. The Crazy Coupe, 7199 Highway 64 between Appling and Kirby Whitten. Family owned and operated, and coming soon, a second location opening Ridgeway off Poplar. The Crazy Coupe. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coupe.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD is on the scene of a couple of accidents out here in the last few minutes. It continues to build as we stare at it live here on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385. It's still pretty sluggish over here on 240 East, just trying to work your way past Poplar. Once that happens, you get up towards Walnut Grove. It starts to move a little bit better. And it's also on the increase now on Austin P Highway going outbound right when you come off the interstate. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
From the Tigers sideline, it's Tigers Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 Mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter X at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, Greg Gaston. You can hear him every morning with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli from 7 to 10. He joins us every week to talk Tigers. Greg, thanks so much for joining us, and we got to start with the big news this morning. AAC Freshman of the Year, PJ Haggerty from Tulsa. He entered the transfer portal last week. He was on a visit earlier this week at the University of Memphis, and this morning made it official on his Instagram page that he would be committing to Penny Hardaway and the Tigers. Big pickup for Penny Hardaway to start this offseason. What did you make of that announcement earlier today?
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen, and certainly good news for Tigers fans as Penny has begun filling his roster. Still has a lot of spots to fill. But that's at least 3 years in a row that I could think of where he has plucked somebody from within the conference, going with Kendrick Davis from SMU a couple of years ago. Of course, SMU moving out of the conference next season. Then last year they got Nick Jourdain from Temple. So Penny gets to see these players firsthand, and by playing against them, he's able to see things that he likes about those particular players and probably makes a mental note. And then when he has an opportunity, if those players hit the portal, he goes after them. So to be able to pick up a young man like this, who is young, just played his redshirt freshman year, and you never know, even though he has years of eligibility left, what can happen. So I think it would be pretty naive to say, well, you're going to get him for 3 years, you're going to get him for 2 years. You don't know, but you're going to get him for at least 1 year. And this guy is talented. He plays defense along with what he can do offensively. Had a big year for Tulsa. Tulsa didn't have a lot of scoring options, but this guy scored at 21.5 per game. He assisted as well at 3.8. He had 5.5 rebounds per game. He had a bunch of steals. He was a really, really good player. And against Memphis, he went for 27 points. So obviously Penny was able to see him firsthand, likes what he sees. This team has to get back to playing defense. That's what Penny hangs his hat on. And this past season, obviously, they had a lot of issues in that department. So I really do like this pickup in P.J. Haggerty. I'm always one to say I like pass-first guards, point guards, rather than guys that are looking for the shot first. But, I mean, he's a guy who can play the one, play the two, and with the ability to play defense, I like the pickup.
Greg, I do too. And I said it earlier when we started at 3 o'clock today. I think already out of the gate better than the totality of last year, not to be confused with the Eclipse path of totality. Don't want to get anyone confused with that. But I love this first big strike in the portal with a proven player that we know what he can do. I'm with you on that pass first, but he can score and he can play defense, and I like that he likes to get to the rack with floaters and jumpers and not just solely dependent on 3-point shot. And I said it earlier. I don't think there's any comparison between his game and Javon Quinterly. The Tigers just got better with the Quinterly exit and the entrance of P.J. Haggerty.
Right. I agree with everything you said. He's very athletic. And, again, a defensive-minded guy who's not just there to score the ball, where we certainly saw issues this year with several players who were thinking offense first and not being able to do their job defensively. I don't think that will be the case with this young man. But I'm also not about to sit here and go, yeah, okay, already I penciled them in for the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. They got one guy who's a pretty good talent. Now let's see what he does with the rest of the roster, but it's a great start.
I'm with you. And as far as that, Greg, I'm reeling way back, and I know people are going to go, we don't want to start settling. We don't want to lower goals or standards, anything. But there's no way I'm putting another Sweet 16 second weekend on Penny Hardaway until I see him do it. I'm mine going into next year. If he goes out and signs Moses Malone the rest of this portal period, all mine is get to the tournament.
Yeah, the old adage, right? Talk is cheap. And it's one thing when the fans are saying it. It's another thing when the coach says it. And Penny, who is very confident in these players that he's able to acquire or to sign, is pretty quick with addressing them as, he'll be the greatest player since sliced bread. He'll be the best shooter. He'll be the best defender. He needs to walk back on that a little bit because
manage expectations.
Sure. Yes, people run with it and they don't forget if those players don't come through. But and he's keeping a low profile right now, Penny Hardaway. Not that he's always out there running around doing interviews in the postseason, but it's very quiet. Now he strikes. They're in on a couple of other guys. They'll be in on several other guys that are in the portal. And I like that the biggest names, I know there was one rating that had this kid, the number 2 guy in the portal. I don't know about that because I've seen other services where he's in the 30s. So you don't always believe what you see. But my point that I'm making is that when the top guys, when the biggest names have come out, it's not Memphis next to their name necessarily. I think he's being a little bit more thorough on what particular players he brings in, not just trying to accumulate the most talent he can get.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely with you on that. And, now it seems like you've got, one of your guards that you should be able to rely on next season? I know that was one category. A lot of people were saying that's got to be the first thing he takes care of is go get you a point guard, go get that one guard. But right behind him, or there were some, a lot of people that said this was more important, but go get a center. Obviously, we know both centers that they relied on last year are not coming back. They're both done with their eligibility. What type of center, what type of big man do you think Penny Hardaway needs to go out and bring in?
The college game still has, to some degree, the back-to-the-basket center, which we don't see too much in the NBA, right? Guys are stepping out, they're shooting three-point shots. I mean, there's still guys that play down low, but for the the Clint Capellas of the world. But for the most part, guys, even Jokic and Embiid, they're going outside and they're shooting threes. You see that a little bit in college. You don't necessarily see it a lot. You still see guys that demand and command the post. Look at Zach Edey. Look at Donovan Clingan. Clingan. Look at other guys of that ilk, that if Filipowski, although he has stepped out and can shoot the three. But for the most part in college, you still see guys that really command getting the ball inside the paint, pick and rolls, scoring down low. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to see a guy who can score once he gets the bucket, can get up and down, but he plays defense. He rebounds. He's a physical guy. Now, I'm all for getting a big physical screen setter that's next to that athletic center, if that's a possibility too. It doesn't have to be the five per se. And we go with the numbers just for the numbers' sake. The five being the center, the four being the power forward. If you got a power forward that brings that kind of physicality, setting screens, he can do that dirty work as well. But if you have a center who can do both, is not afraid to do both, and can also score the ball, but plays great defense, clinging like a guy like that. Now, that's asking a lot to get a player like that. Vlad Golden, who went into the portal, I think. I'm not sure exactly what happened there with Florida Atlantic after losing their coach. Somebody like that. Those type of players, I think, are very pivotal for a team to have a lot of success, because that means you could have success against all types of different teams and all types of varieties of style when you have that ability for a guy to take it down low and finish and block shots when guys are coming in the lane. You got that a little bit with Malcolm Dandridge, but you didn't get it consistently enough.
He's the familiar, trusted, credible voice, Greg Gaston from the Tiger Sideline. He's with us every week, brought to you by Mount Moriah Auto Sales, the law offices of Stephen Leffler, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Jim's Place in Collierville. So we've gotten through the one-day annual scan count story. It's a little bit like the Sweet 16 second weekend. Greg, I'm ready for show me, don't tell me. I'm ready to see crowds that we all know are robust, respectable crowds, instead of having to play 12s really 7, 9s really 6, and 13s really 9,500.
Yeah, look, to get back to the golden days, I think it's going to be very hard to do, but it's not impossible. If you put together a product that is not only winning consistently, and remember, Memphis was winning early in the season and winning convincingly, but if you are able to play names as well in the non-conference portion of your schedule, which they were able to do to some degree, and Penny's working hard on that. That's one thing you can't fault Penny about.
I agree.
He's really going hard trying to put that schedule together. So you get the likes of Clemson. You get the likes of Virginia. That's the only thing you could ask for, but you have to then take care of business in the conference portion of your schedule, because I think if you are, once they got to number 10 in the country and then they faltered, let's say they were able to stay at 10 and maybe even move up. That excites the city. That excites the fan base. They want to see that team play, and they don't care that they're playing Rice. They don't care that they're playing UTSA. They'll spend money because it's, first of all, it's not that expensive. I'm not going to tell people what to do with their money, but I think they're more apt to do so when you have a winning product. When they started to slip early in conference play, lost early to Tulane on the road, people started to think, well, I don't know about this. So now they're a little bit more stingy with their money. I'm not going to buy tickets. I'm not going to go down to the game. I'll watch it on television. I'll listen to it on radio. The days of buying the season ticket is starting to go away. There are still people that do it, and there are still companies that do it for their employees. But I think for the most part, John Q. Public out there does not want to buy the season ticket. He wants to buy maybe a little ticket package, maybe 4 tickets, 4 games, 8 games, those types of things. So I think they like to buy also if they know there's a big game coming up. They like to buy if the team's playing well, and they'll purchase a game or a couple games on a homestand. But the days of just purchasing the season tickets, I think those people are going away. It's even the diehards. Even the diehards. There are some, but I think it's hard to sell the season tickets. So you have to make an attractive product for people to want to go, and then you have to have a team that sustains success and has a chance to do damage once they get to the postseason. They can't falter either early in the season or they can't falter in the conference. And that puts the pressure on programs like Memphis or programs in mid-majors, if you will, because they have to win consistently throughout the season.
Well, it's going to be a very eventful offseason, I think, for Penny Hardaway. But in the other big sport, football, they're getting ready. Spring practice going on. They're getting ready for their spring game on the 20th of this month. But we learned earlier this week Ryan Silverfield has a new contract, a 5-year extension for him. And in that contract, some interesting things. If he gets a 9-win season, an extra year on his contract, 10-win season, and in the conference championship, 2-year extension on top of that. So I really like the contract. What did you make of them finally getting this done for him, and then kind of the details that we learned the day after?
Yeah, when you look inside that contract, like we were able to do after, I think the story first came out with Jonah Dillon, got to give him credit at the commercial appeal. You look at some of the creative things they did in that contract, and then you understand why it took this long to get finalized. It was going to get done. One way or another it was going to get done. But not that I'm apt or privy to a lot of contracts. I mean, I hear things, but I don't know how many of them are creative like this. This was pretty amazing to hear these particulars. Now,
I love it.
I think it's a great deal for Ryan Silverfield. Absolutely great deal. And I think he deserves, after what they did last year, they haven't been able to do that too many times in their history, winning 10 games, so he's justly rewarded. I don't think it's a bad deal for Memphis either. I think maybe more concessions were given to the coach than maybe the school took themselves, but I think that's what you have to do. And I know there's people out there that probably are saying, well, who's knocking down the door to bring in Ryan Silverfield? It's not about that. It's about winning and winning consistently.
Rewarding a man for a good job.
Exactly, and rewarding a man. No question about it. Here's a guy who's been here 7 seasons. We always talk about coaches upping and leaving. Well, here's a guy who's been here 7 years now as an assistant and then as the head coach of the team. Now, I know what will happen next year if they come short of getting to the conference championship. We've been around the block a few times, Brett. We know the outcry. You gave the guy 5 years. They didn't get to the conference championship game in a watered-down conference when they were picked to win it or picked to at least get to the conference. I know what could happen, and he knows what could happen. But they feel confident that they can go out there and win this conference, and I feel confident that they can win this conference. And many people believe they should go out there and win that conference. So with that in mind, when Larry Beach is agreeing on a contract, he's thinking that as well. He's thinking that he's going to get them there. And if he doesn't get them there, then obviously you're going to have money left on that contract, and you're going to – I'm not saying next year if they falter, but the point is that you reward somebody and you make it a 5-year deal and things don't work out, you're on the hook. But they are confident that it will work out. And when you look at what Ryan has done and has been able to kind of maneuver around the infancy of the NIL world with kind of limitations on what he has, hopefully it'll get better and better with the NIL and the collectives for Memphis. But they have done an amazing job, in my opinion, and players that they have been able to pick up through the portal. I think they've done a really good job in recruiting. But I think, again, getting back to your point, Brian, this is really wild. You think about it. If he consistently wins 9 games, which is a lot to ask for, it is not easy in any conference to do that, his contract could be good in perpetuity because they keep adding a year every time it is done. So it is a very creative contract that I think benefits both sides. I would give the slight advantage to actually the coach as far as the contract is concerned.
And Greg, what if he is the University of Memphis version of what Frank Beamer built in those early years at Virginia Tech or Gary Patterson at TCU, and you didn't reward him and he walked?
Right, absolutely. You want a coach to be here for a long time and to have sustained success and get them to maybe a pinnacle that they've never been. And that's what you're hoping to do. And look, I'm not saying that if they didn't extend, Ryan would be clamoring about getting out right now, and there would be bad blood, but it wouldn't be good. I mean, you wonder, what do you have to do? Well, again, some of the doubters out there, and we know because we heard them. Hey, yeah, you got 10 wins. That's fantastic. But the big game against Tulane, you lost, and then you didn't get to the conference championship game. So, wake me up when you get to the conference championship game. But as you said, Brett, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth right here. You cannot you have to reward the guy. You can't let that slide when you do something you've only done several times in your history. People have to realize where this football program has been and hope that they can get to where everybody wants them to go, and that's to the highest of heights. And right now I think they have a good man in place, the right guy in place, and we'll see where it goes from here. But it would be fantastic to see Ryan with sustained success, getting the conference championship after conference championship, and staying here for a long time where the administration does not have to worry about making any type of change when it comes to college football.
Yeah. Well, there should be a lot of excitement around this program right now, and certainly the university has shown their investment in Ryan Silverfield, I think, with this new contract. Well, Greg, thanks so much for joining us. We got to get out early. Ole Miss baseball in action tonight with an early first pitch for them. So thanks so much, as always, for joining us, and we'll do it again next Thursday.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Greg Gaston joining us to talk Tigers. As always, you can listen to him every single morning with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli from 7 to 10. Let's go ahead and get to Taco Bell Crunch Time.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so...
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, what I learned, we've got some clarity, I guess a step in the A's move to Las Vegas today. We now know where they'll be playing for at least the next 3 years while they await their new ballpark in Las Vegas. They'll head to Sacramento, West Sacramento.
Will they rebrand as Sacramento A's?
No. So what the reporting I have heard around that is that they will just go by the Athletics and the A's. There will be no Oakland. There will be no Sacramento. There will be no Las Vegas.
Really?
Just the Athletics for those 3 years. Or 4.
Like Man City.
Yeah. So it's just gonna be or like I guess it was the Washington Football Club there. So I guess that was the city and no nickname. This is just gonna be nickname and no city. So I mean it's
wow. So they distinctly will not be Sacramento A's.
Right. That's at least the reporting I've heard. I don't know if that's completely official yet, but I did see that earlier today.
Very interesting.
They'll just go by the A's. They'll share Sutter Health Park, which seats about 14,000, with the Sacramento River Cats, the AAA affiliate for the San Francisco Giants. So it's gonna be really weird there. And I saw somebody put out a number that I guess over the weekend the Sacramento River Cats drew more fans to their first series than the Oakland A's did. So it's gonna be weird.
The 56-year saga ending in Oakland, and it's time. What I learned, 2025 Final Four will go back to San Antonio, 2026 Indianapolis, 27 Detroit, 28 Vegas, 29 back to Indianapolis, 2030 Jerry's World in Arlington. Let's hope the NCAA doesn't exist and all those Indianapolis Final Fours don't happen because we don't have to kiss their ring in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that would be nice. What I could have done without Jeff Passan reported earlier today, Marlins right-handed pitcher Yuri Perez, one of the best, this is a quote from him, one of the best pitching prospects in recent years, will undergo Tommy John surgery and miss the entire 2024 season. The Marlins tried to play it safe with him. They threw him out there last year in the bigs, but he did not make as many starts as a lot of people thought he would make because they wanted to kind of take it slow with him and give him some time. But even without rushing him, being careful with him, he could not avoid these injuries. They're hoping that with this surgery that they're getting it in early, that he'll be able to come back next season in 2025 and pitch. And speaking of those Marlins, they're up 2 right now in the 7th inning against the Cardinals.
5-3, the winless Marlins over the Cardinals at the Busch Stadium home opener. What I could have done that, you mentioned it. We saw the Charlotte Knights, AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox, here last weekend against the Redbirds last night, walloped 26-11 by the Orioles AAA team, Norfolk. The Orioles have built a great team. Norfolk, they're here in May for 6 against the Redbirds. I'm going to try to catch them a couple of times. 26, but they gave up 11.
Exactly. Great point. I mean, that's awesome that they scored all those runs, but 11 runs is a lot.
Yeah, that is.
It's a lot. So, I don't know. I know the fielding guy, the batting prospects are great, but I don't know about those pitching prospects.
And that's what scares me about the Orioles long term is pitching in at Camden Yards because it's a bandbox.
No, you're absolutely right. Where are you beaming tonight?
Crypto for Nuggets at Clippers. Denver needs this and that 1-2-3 seed dance they're in. Clippers look pretty safe in the 4. They're 2 clear in the all-important loss column from Dallas.
Beam me tonight to Hinkle Fieldhouse for the NIT Championship. Forget the Final Four this weekend. We've got a championship game tonight in a battle versus Indiana State and Seton Hall. It doesn't always work out like this, but it feels like this matchup for the NIT Championship is probably the 2 biggest snubs from the NCAA tournament. Indiana State.
This is 69 and 70.
It really is. Seton Hall had a great
I guess
year
in the at-large world it would be 37 and 38.
Right, there you go. Yeah, so I mean, both these teams had really, really good seasons. Indiana State took over Hinkle in the semifinal game. I expect them to do the same tonight. And I learned this earlier today. Every one of Indiana State's starting 5 can return next year. They all have eligibility remaining, so there's a lot of questions about what will happen. Obviously, Josh Schertz, their head coach, has been linked to the still open St. Louis job, so he's still out there for that. And who knows, after this win, he could turn around and take that St. Louis job.
Well, Bryant, you're talking about old dogs, new tricks. Today I'm looking at the NBA schedule, and I see Knicks at home at Madison Square Garden. I went, no way, I know tonight's the NIT Finals, and then it's not at the Garden anymore.
Welcome to the new NIT. It's different. It's a lot of new, but that should be fun tonight if you're into the NIT. That'll be fun. Also, really a lot of important NBA games tonight and going into the weekend, tomorrow night, Friday, and into the weekend.
Knicks in Sacramento.
Knicks in Sacramento is going to be a huge one as we continue to try to figure out what is going to happen in a lot of these standings. Who's going to get these different seedings? So it should be a really fun night. A couple of night games in Major League Baseball as well, but it's really traveling day for most of those teams. Well, I mentioned it earlier. We're out early today, so we're about to get out of here, make way for Ole Miss pregame for their baseball game tonight on the road against Arkansas. At pregame show, it'll start at 5:30 here in a couple minutes. First pitch set for 6 o'clock. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Enjoy your night, and we will talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
I'm with John Virgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house.